I've read some of them or not, but bear with me.
That's fine.
You're time appropriate, so. This piece is from a larger collection of 4 poems. It's called Checkpoints. And this part, or this particular part, this poem is called Appalachian Fall, November 2007. When does the fall start? In the whirl of each blighting whisper, long before it blows down rusty intelligence grappling for sap, because that's just what life does. All it knows is longing in the stalk before a snap consigns nature's flourish to moldering mulch round a tree, frumpy beside evergreen dross, if not for its stirring denouement, a consonant swirl of transient sheen through a diminished landscape. Should dread gnaw too, as that cadenza of crepitant wind whisks away life from luxuriant shade? Or should peace descend as color skirts earth, light reclaims life from wintry dearth? I'll let you put this in its context yourself. Current events sort of context. It's called A Hollow Walk. The laws are mine, not thine. Who can arraign me for it? William Shakespeare, King Lear. The busy arms of a wily spider twist and fold beneath the timber, adroitly flocking its glossy threat into furry mold. A flimsy display between rotting wood and a crag that curves a trace, whooshing a hollow. Stealthy little architect, so good at spinning and stretching its design, like some pernicious big top that's collapsed, barely noticeable on a trail, till its toil brushes against you, however slightly. Then its industry is laced, but with poison. And the perambulatory genius, once peripherally tucked, ahead of the frism, naturally, a shadow fleetingly obvious as it skitters behind the bark of a pitch pine, forsaking the silken line by which the wary judge its nature, the only sign it's ever been there, except for what it leaves in its wake. Things succumbed to the gossamer mastery of its moods throughout nature's honeycombed spaces, the instinctual wreckage of that on which it preys. What festoons the quivering presage of a predator's insidious ways? This is a poem that kind of plays on the concept of negative capability. Negative capability was a phrase first used by John Keats in 1817, and it characterizes the capacity of the greatest writers to pursue a vision of artistic beauty even when it leads them into intellectual confusion and uncertainty, as opposed to a preference for philosophical certainty over artistic beauty. Clear as mud, right? Okay, this is negative capability. It's 3 parts, but they're short. God's operating a frenzied switchboard, an antiquated exchange of sockets, jacks, and trunk lines, besieged by a blizzard of lights, knowing each just anticipates another flash. Passengers clutch armrests, pray as one, fear likely absolving the blessed of fervent convictions. Such will have led inexorably to this plane of mangled wires, a Gordian SOS routed to a cosmic operator, but snarled up instead in more primitive call signs, missives afield, scattered adumbrations clear only from above, like Nazca lines, sacred waste from phonic navigations. It's about one of the planes that crashed in 9/11. Her mother says she can't understand why the ride's so bumpy when the sky's so blue. Like her child can't understand the broken voices in a box over her head, or the catch in her mother's voice when she answers the man's questions about the father being home. Why was that lady in uniform slipping the film on her ear she didn't want to see? She'd rather be making Daffy out in the clouds, or looking for those signals grandfather claimed he read as a boy, head wrapped in a headband too, his of leather, trimmed with an eagle feather. Not even that smoky Morse now in the narrow view from a plane that's veering toward the city. Just going back reassures her mother for something somebody forgot. Source of life, she thinks, precious, as she pours it over her head, trying to conserve what she understands is a dwindling resource. But she's always taken responsibility that way, raised to save tablespoons of leftovers, a habit from another time of want, passed along with cautionary tales and a bit of moral seasoning, respect for those without. Gushing water has curtained her face with hair, covering her nose, her mouth, as heavy as a soaked towel, just loose enough for air to get through. But it's not all that penetrates. She's been taken back to her childhood, to those classes meant to condition her not to fear, so as not to drown. Then as quickly, panics whipping her back to the present. She's sucked in enough to make her sputter and choke, as she'd done in that baptism of fire so many years ago, throat burning with terror as shaming epithets were hurled from the safety of solid footing. That, with a chokehold of fear and aspiration of water, had left a bad taste she'd understand later smacked of more than chlorine. Childhood lessons, tumblers in which adult experiences like rocks are shaped for good or for ill. Do unto others, another old chestnut, unbidden yet insistent, as she douses her head again, the background noise of news murmuring its negation of that outmoded refrain, with reports that resurrect history, renditions of innocence to black sites, torture, doctor assisted, AMA approved, prisoner waterboarded 183 times, inhumanities of which we thought ourselves incapable, taboos we'd naively considered foreign and buried in systems uniquely inclined, or so we've been taught, to justify any means so long as it accomplished the desired ends. And parting the saturated curtain, she gasps for the air that openness affords, with its chance for dry-eyed realizations, even the horror and disillusion they bring. I want to read one more.
Hold up.
It's called A Twilight Zone, and I wrote it for my two uncles who are NASA engineers, or they're retired. A Twilight Zone. That disembodied voice in the gloaming, eerie through a veil of half-light and fog, isn't a countdown by some stone-faced god of apocalypse, though in the end, the air will tremble when a nation shakes its fist at Ursa Major and embarks on its higher purpose. For whatever motivations lurk in the bushes, a generation has clasped the torch past, and with it thinks to hold nightfall at bay as it launches itself into the universe, throwing earthly nature in relief, its silhouette, a frayed, shuddering shadow of sibilant sea and sedge, like an eyelid closed against failure, fluttering at the rumble of ignition. For this is Kennedy, an escape from shrill streets and battered faces, ascendant Mars eclipsed by something wonderful, a beacon in twilight that seems a justification of hope. And a child is drawn to this pillar of fire, imagining that a world being ripped apart might burn instead with illumination. A vision once shared by a world-weary world, sick of foundering in a paradise lost. Its promise now cresting the muck of the world as exhaust dissipates through chords of marsh grass, where it hovers briefly like a spirit, or will-o'-the-wisp, or like belief rising from a land escaped by eidolons and dreams. We used to go watch, and my uncles would bring us down to Florida, and we'd see all of these launches, and the night launches were the best, you know,
Yeah.
because everything, you could feel it, you could hear it, you could see it, smell it, and it's just wonderful. And it just, I think going down there so many times might have given me so much hope that I was able to carry on through that time, because it was really hellacious, wasn't it?